Hello people! Today we're doing a set I'm calling Poinsettias and Greenery. I know, not very original, but here we are. Starting off with the white base. And while you're watching me do that, there will be one more Christmas set after this. And then I will be moving on to just winter stuff. So I've got one more set I have to do before I go away on my trip to my folks' house for Christmas. So I shall get that done, and then you guys have an uninterrupted flow of stuff while I'm gone. And while I was just watching that, and that chunk of white polish that was on there, here we go with the second coat. You guys got any tips for keeping the polish from curing around the top of the bottle? As I'm having a lot of issues with that suddenly, especially with my matte top coat. It wants to cure up around the rim of the bottle as I'm using it. And it's not like it's just sitting there open for hours. It's just, open as long as I need it to be there to use. And then I close it. So I'm guessing that it has a hair trigger on the cure time because it's just curing from my desk lamp and that's it. But I keep getting these chunky bits in my stuff and I don't like it. I'm trying to keep those bottles cleaned off, but it seems to be no avail. Okay, moving on. I wanted just a light, thin coating of a glitter on here. So this is the one I decided to go with. I just wanted something to jazz up the white a little bit because a lot of it's going to be showing. On the other hand, I didn't want like real in-your-face glitter either. So that is partly why I decided to matte these. Okay, in they go to cure. And we're back. Speaking of matte top, here we go. I wanted this glitter to not be real super flashy, but I just wanted it to be there. Also, I'm smoothing it out so I can paint on there without any bumpiness. Even though it's almost perfectly flat, it doesn't totally need that, but it does help when you're painting on the surface and it's matte instead of glossy, because then it keeps your paint and polish where you put it so it doesn't move around as much. Okay, moving on to the poinsettias. I'm using this brush. You don't need a brush like this, but I have it and I decided to use it. I last used this when I was painting some purple flowers. And at the time I said, you know what, I bet you I could use that for poinsettias. It would look nice. So that's what we're doing. Even though it's not totally necessary. Now this is just going to look like a blob right now. It's not really going to look like the poinsettia yet. We have to go back in and fix that with the details. I was trying to get those little pointy bits on the end because I wasn't getting them on there. Okay, that's all for that one. And the other one, I'm going to go off the side. Okay, there we go. I will set those aside for now, and then we're going to go on with the greenery. I've got two different colors of green. Now, in hindsight, I wished I had gone back and put highlights in the greenery with either white or a very pale shade of green. But at the time I was painting these, it didn't seem like it needed it. But as I was watching as I was looking at it farther, as I was doing the edit, it does need it kind of, but I'm too lazy to go back and put it on now. So here we are. We won't have them on this. Now all I did was make my stem lines, and I'm just dragging out some little bristly bits. These are not holly leaves, obviously. It's just kind of like pine greenery, I guess. And these are easy peasy to do. Don't get intimidated. You guys can do this real easy. And that top one, I know I'm going to keep working at that top one, but at some point here I'm going to decide it's too blobby and I'm going to take it off and redo that one. Now what I initially was going to do was go right in with the light green on top of those, which I tried, and it just wasn't working very well. Alright, what are we doing here? Okay, we'll just clean my brush. And then I'm going to go in with the lighter green. And this is, I thought I could just do it and it would show up nicely, but it was just blending in too much with the dark, so it wasn't showing up at all. Plus it was making that blobby one even blobbier. And the reason I'm using two different colors is to give them a little bit of dimension. I'm still trying to save that one, but there's no hope for it. It just looks like a big blob with, it looks like a blobby porcupine is what it looks like. Anyway, off it goes, and we are going to start again. As you can see, you can see all the glitter, but it's like a muted glitter now. It's not real shiny in your face. I wanted this set to be on the softer side. But you can just keep on working with this until you're happy with the way it looks. It's starting to get a little blobby again. At that point's when I decided I'm not going to put the other color on top until I cure it. Okay, now I've cured these poinsettias. Oh no, I haven't either. Or did I? I may have cured the poinsettias. Actually, I think I did do that. So I'm just going in here now with a little bit of greenery on the side. I probably should have just used my detailer brush for this. I figured there's a finer, thinner end on the striper brush than there is on my detailer, so I thought it would be easier to do it with this one, but it isn't really working out like that. Okay, that's it for that one. And I believe that I sped the rest of this up now for the greenery painting. I think I did. I don't know. I'm so frazzled. I just did this edit yesterday and I already don't remember what I did. I'm in the middle of my Christmas rush with everything, getting ready, as I already said, before I go away. And I've got gifts I still have to finish pouring with resin. I've got the rest of this nail stuff to get done. So it's going to be a busy next 3 or 4 days for me. I hope you guys are all ready for Christmas, or getting there at least. We don't really do much decorating around here because my cats would just trash everything. So I have learned we put lights outside. That's about as much as we do. we're just going to keep making pine needles on here. This one also, in hindsight, I'm wishing I had done some greenery, like on either another sprig of it coming out from that side, or maybe one coming down the other side, because it seemed a little unfinished looking when I got done, as I was looking at it later on. And I think that's all I'm going to do with that. Okay, and I believe that was the last one. And there's where we are so far. In we go for curing. Now when I get back out, I'm going to move on to this lighter green. I'm going to add this on there. I'm going to just do the same exact thing I just did, except for I'm going to just use the lighter. And as I already said, I'm wishing I had gone back and did highlights on these, but I did not. Also, in hindsight, I'm thinking rather than the red berries that I ended up sticking on here, considering this is not holly, I probably should have gone with pine cones instead. But, oh well. These two were a little bit too close together, so they kind of got a bit muddled there near the top part. And that other one has gotten a little blobby looking too. This was my attempt to get some of the blobbiness out of there by pulling out from where the blobs are. Try to spread them out a little more. And I guess that's all I'm doing with that one. And of course my glove had to get stuck underneath there again. Okay, this I've definitely sped up now. You've seen me do it a couple times, and it's pretty much this is all there is to it. Very easy peasy greenery. You guys could do this no problem. The key is just to have thin lines. Don't get them real thick. And we got one last one over here. This is the initial one I started that's blobby. Alright, I think we're good on there. Nope, no we're not. I was trying to get some of the darker back on that one because it was all blending in with the light. And I'm just making it a big blobbier mess, I think. Okay, there we are so far again, ready to cure those. And there they go. Now, I'm going to do the highlights and the outlining of the flowers. I didn't want to use white because I thought that would be too stark of a contrast. I don't know. I just have a problem with that somehow. So I mixed up a pale pink gel paint with the red and the white. And we're just going to go in and do like some kind of sketchy outlines. They don't need to be perfectly solid, and they don't need to be fully around the whole thing. We just want to get some definition for the petals. Once again, my detailer brush probably would have been just as well for this. Okay, then I'm going to do just a little bit of these lines in the center of the petals down here at the bottom. Just give them a little bit more oomph. And there we go. That one's done. Moving on, we're going to do the same to the other one. I guess I could have used white, but I don't know. It just seemed like it was going to be too much. Too much of a contrast. So I think the pink worked out okay. And then the lines in the centers. Just make them so they don't look so flat. And there we go. In for curing we go with those. Okay, now we are moving on to, I need to see what I'm doing here. Okay, just pretend you didn't see that part. Next we're top coating, so I'm going in with matte top coat. I'll get to that other part in a bit. What I was doing, well, we'll see it in a little bit. But we're going to get these matted up again. If you wanted them to be shiny, this is what they would look like, shiny. Once this is on here, you'll see. Now you could see all that glitter really bright, which frankly I didn't totally want. Hence the reason I have matted them, but not everybody likes the matte top. Okay, those are gone into cure. Now, I've taken the gold caviar beads, some of them, and I'm going to mix them into a little bit of top coat. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want them to be coated and stay shiny and keep the finish protected on these, and also it will help to keep them on the nail because they're going to be kind of out there on their own in a tiny little cluster in the center of those flowers, or the poinsettias. So this will help keep them shiny and keep their gold finish on there, and help them to stick to. Yeah, I forgot to show you the caviar beads, which obviously you're seeing already. So, okay, I'm just going to scoop up some of them, and we're just going to put them right where the center is. Now this one I didn't put glue on first because frankly I forgot. But, I'm not too worried about it since nobody's ever going to wear these. They'll be fine. But when I did the next one, I did remember to put the glue on there. Okay, there's that one. Now I'm going to cure this whole rack at once, except for this dude right here gave me problems. Okay, I got the glue on. I'm getting the caviar beads on there. And with the combo of the top coat and the glue and the weight of the caviar beads right on the side edge like that, they just slid right off and ended up down on the nail stand. So once I got them back on there, I ended up flash curing them because they were just sliding around and I didn't want to have to keep picking them back up. So I flash cured those, which you're not going to see me do, but just know I did that to keep them on there before I was ready to deal with the rest of the stuff. See, look, they were already starting to go right there. Later on, they completely slid off and were sitting on the bottom of the nail stand. Okay, greenery. I'm just going to put a little blob of glue at the top or the base of the greenery, and then I'm just going to pop 3 red crystals on there for little berries. plus since we're gonna be doing a crystal nail, I wanted to tie in crystals on the other part of this. Now weirdly, the crystals you could stick on here right on the side edge and they stay put, and I have no problem with them sliding off. I guess those caviar beads, being metal, are just that much heavier. Although these crystals are glass, so there's not like they're super light either. But anyway, same thing, 3 on there. And that's it for that one. Now we've got green and red crystals and some clear ones. And that's what I'm going to be using on this crystal nail. Now I started off kind of with a sort of a swoosh, but I ended up with just kind of just a weird looking design on there. It's not really a swoosh anymore. I just was sticking stuff on until I was happy with how it looked. But we're just going to use the colors randomly. At this point, I was still going for the swoosh, but you're going to see it's going to go downhill here in a minute. See, now I'm getting stuff on the sides and sticking those on. And FYI, this is sped up to double time. You guys have watched me put crystals on these things so many times, and I'm agonizingly slow when I do it, so I thought I'd give you a break and speed it up. Half the battle for these with me is figuring out where I'm going to put stuff. Sometimes I'm just sitting there staring at it for several minutes before I decide what I want to do. And then I got a little bit at the bottom. Okay, now we're going to go and fill in some of the area with the caviar beads. And I'm not going to put it in between every single one. I'm just going to put them randomly on there. Now, I did not coat these guys because, frankly, I forgot. But I think they'll be okay. Since I'm matte topping these, they're not going to get top coat on them. But like I said, since nobody's going to be wearing these ever, it's not going to be that big a deal. But if you guys are doing it, I would put these beads in the top coat before you put them on. Now, if I was doing it with the gloss top coat, I would just catch those beads at the edge as I was putting my last level of top coat on. I would make sure I got those mostly, but I don't want them to be matte, so. Alright, we're just going to tuck everybody in. Now I'm happy with that, and it's ready to cure. Okay, everybody's been cured, and now we're going in. I'm going in with another layer of top coat just to make sure I've covered up any gluey mess I might have made with stuff. That one I decided didn't need it. The rest of them have got a bit of glue. There's a little bit of shiny showing around there, and I don't want that. And then we need to do the whole nail just so we have an even layer and we don't end up with just, sections, because it will show once it's cured if you've just done a little part of it. And this one is mainly to cover up any gluey mess. And also having a good layer of top coat next to your line of crystals and whatnot will help them stay on better. Even though when they're clustered together like that, they stay on pretty well. I usually don't have any issues with those. It's the loose ones like this that are kind of off by themselves. That's where you're going to knock stuff off. At least in my experience, that's what happens to me. Okay. And those are going to go in for curing, and then we're done. There is the finished set. or the half set, but there they are. I hope you like them. I think they turned out all right. If you do, please give me a like. It helps me a lot, and I really appreciate it. And I will be back for you guys next time with one last Christmas set for the year. Okay, so stay tuned. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.